Hey guys, how are we today? It has been quite a little while since making my last video, about 2 weeks, just under. And you can see in my last video, I made it right on the reversal day, which ended up being a absolutely massive, what is that, $11,000, almost 20% reversal after a, what's that, 15%? Yeah, 15-ish% decline the day before. And as you can see, ever since then, the volatility has kind of just dried up. You can see the volume has dropped off. However, one thing that I do notice is, firstly, this long trade here that I called over in all the discords, including the TIA discord that I am in. And we obviously entered that long trade on the first higher low, which is a Gann rule that Michael obviously teaches. When you get the first higher low on the Gann swing indicator, you can enter long on a swing direction change. Now you can clearly see, obviously our stop did not get hit, and a take profit up at the 50% level of that massive sell-off, that 9-day swing, did not get hit. We rejected pretty much right off the 382 level, which has kind of been what's been happening since the all-time high. We've kind of been rejecting off the 382 of every single downtrend, and we do have this sort of double top-ish in play. We've also got a higher low here, so it's kind of no man's land in my opinion. If we have a look at the weekly time frame, one thing I noticed that I've been saying to all the Discord members of the groups that I'm in, that sentence was absolutely terrible grammatically, but is this fractal right here on the weekly time frame looks very similar to sort of this period here, where we had our relief rally, which obviously didn't touch the top of the bull market support band this time, because in this decline here, we sold off more aggressively and we rejected off the underside rather than the overside. And it looks like we're in some of these inside weeks at the moment, where we're getting lower highs but higher lows compared to obviously our massive capitulation week. And we are yet to see this spike move up, which we may or may not get. Now, the weekly trend is obviously in quite a long downswing. We are technically 5 weeks down so far, but we do have 2 inside weeks now. So potentially, if we can get this little push up to potentially maybe $72,000 or so this week, either this week over the weekend is probably not going to happen, so maybe next week. And then I do expect the sell-off to continue because the monthly trend is still down. And as I've been talking about in the previous video, when we see that monthly bar that breaches below the monthly market bias, we usually get bought up, which has sort of been what's happening here. Like obviously, if you got a long in around 60k, you would have made, 10k per Bitcoin in basically a day. And then the next month is pretty much the capitulation. And as Jason has been saying on his channel, basically the price low will probably almost be in next month. Like anyone that bought Bitcoin at 17 or 18k and held it for the next 2 or 3 years was definitely not hitting themselves for not waiting and buying it, 16 and a half or 17k. So obviously, if next month does end up being a sell-off down to the 50-month triangular moving average, around 52k or so, it is probably not a bad buy zone historically to start accumulating Bitcoin, because obviously even if it comes down to 48k, 45k, 40k, 38k as a bottom, in the long run, it will probably still be a very nice discount compared to buying at prices between 100 and 126k. Now, over on the 4-hour time frame, you can see I have a little more evidence to support my theory that we shall see a move up to around $72,000. by this double bull flag here. This first one obviously didn't quite play out as planned. We ended up making a lower high compared to this peak on the 9th of February to the 15th of February. So that's obviously a little bit sad for price action. And now we can see we're hoping to get some sustainable price action above the 50 TMA on the 4-hour time frame. You can see we haven't really seen much sustainable price action above it since we broke down from around 94k. And ever since then, you know, we've had a tiny move above it that's immediately gotten smacked back down time and time again. So hopefully with these higher lows, we can see these bull flags play out potentially. One thing I am wary of is the fact that the selling volume on these down bars is higher than the buying volume on the up bars. Now, even though many of these down bars are wicking quite a bit, showing that there's a bit of buying pressure coming in, I'm still not sold on whether this is accumulation or distribution. And obviously, if you've been watching Michael's videos, you know he's looking for a lower swing top under $66,000, which we haven't gotten on even the 4-hour time frame, let alone the daily time frame, or a higher swing low above around 71, 72,000, which we also haven't gotten. So this is just a range at the moment where volume is suggesting we will sell off, but past cycle analysis on the higher term timeframes, as well as this bull flag pattern on the 4-hour time frame, as well as this lovely buying pressure on the daily BX trender, and this stochastic RSI about to make this bullish cross whilst it's in the overbought category, often means we will see a last explosive exhaustion rally. So in a bull market, this often is our breakout before some consolidation, whilst in a bear market, which is what we're likely in right now, it is often a exhaust move before a massive, massive sell-off. Either way, I think the next move is probably bullish, and yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. There's not much to talk about on the 1 hour or the 15-minute time frame. So thank you all for watching. And as always, if you are going to trade these daily and 4-hour charts, have a plan in place, especially in a market that is like what we're in right now. Gosh, my English is so bad today. But obviously, with the higher time frame weekly and monthly trends down, and most of the higher time frame monthly and weekly time frames telling you to hold short, the strategies that I would use on the weekly and monthly, like the BX Trender, 50 TMA, are all saying to short. If you are going to do a counter trend trade on the daily and 4-hour time frame, make sure you've got your risk management in play, know your entries, exits, stops, take profits, etc. And as always, good luck, please like, comment, and subscribe, and goodbye.